Preparing carers for leave from hospital should begin at the point of admission, even if the possibility of leave seems a long way off. Giving information about hospital leave and how it works as part of the admission process helps carers see a potential trajectory towards recovery that they may find helpful. Providing some information in writing is helpful for carers to refer back to and for you to refer to when talking to them. We've produced the Carers Section 17 Leave Leaflet, which is aimed at carers of patients who've been detained, but this also contains lots of potentially useful information for carers of voluntary patients. Carers supporting someone on their first admission may not understand how leave works. However, even those with experience might know very little about it, depending on how it's been explained to them in the past, so they may also have questions about leave. Being able to answer those questions makes things easier across the ward. All staff should have training around hospital leave and how this relates to carers of both voluntary and detained patients, including everyone who works day to day in a patient or caring facing role, including doctors, nurses, and other health professionals, as well as healthcare assistants. Finding time for training on a fast-paced and busy ward can be challenging, which is why this training doesn't need to be a formal course. Written resources or existing team meetings can be used as a venue for building everyone's awareness and understanding. The aim is that staff are knowledgeable about how carers fit into plans for leave from hospital and can be confident about what they can and cannot discuss with carers, especially when patients are not comfortable with information being shared. Carers also need to be ready for leave. Some will have the support and help they need already in place, but others might not know what help is available or how to ask for it. It's important that you check in with carers to identify what support they need and make sure they have information about local carer support, as well as access to a referral for a carer's assessment from the local authority. This isn't about ward staff necessarily offering direct support, as wards are busy with their responsibility towards patients. It's about spotting when someone might need additional help and linking them to the right people. It's useful here to think about your processes on the ward. Do you have information from local carer support services you can share? Can you get some? Do you have referral processes set up with carer support services, making it simple for you to refer people on? Avoid asking carers to refer themselves for help. Hospital admission can be a stressful, pressured time for them and for patients, so make getting help as easy as possible rather than adding to that feeling of pressure. It can be tricky to find time to speak with carers about their needs, as they spend very little time actually on the ward and usually want to spend that time with the patient. They're also not always available for telephone calls because of other commitments. It might be useful to have essential information written down to give or send to carers if speaking to them in person is not possible. You should always check the best time to call carers so you can plan your time effectively. Patients may be able to help with this if they know their carers' routines. Ensuring carers understand the ward is also important. It can be frustrating for carers when staff are busy and unable to talk, and frustrating for staff when carers call at unsuitable times. Carers also don't want to interfere with the mental health support patients are receiving, especially as their goal is usually the same as yours. They want the patient to recover and be able to leave hospital as soon as possible. Carers should be guided to understand ward routines, such as when meetings happen, meal times, when activities and interventions are usually scheduled, and times of shift changes. All of these help carers understand when best to try and contact the ward and when to avoid suggesting activities for hospital leave so as to not interfere with the patient's care. Remember, informing carers about the ward routines is not the same as sharing information about the patient. If a patient has asked you not to share information about their care with anyone, you can still tell carers, the psychologist visits the ward on Thursday mornings before lunch, which happens between 12 and 1, because this is information about ward practices and routines and unrelated to the care of any specific patient. This information is generic, so can be provided in a standardised format. A written Life on the Ward information sheet gives all the carers the same information to refer back to when they can't remember details.